Now we understand you guys are going into space for the first time this season. Can you kind of talk about that aspect of the series moving into this new?
Yeah. So this season we go into space, and it's sort of a giant competition to see who's worthy, who's ready, and I guess a lot of the science that comes out of this season comes out of this sort of long arc on this giant space thing that happens at the end of the season.
Now, and how is that going to affect, like you said, it takes this arc for the rest of the season, but I mean, how's that going to affect the characters on the show, and how does it kind of change your character? I mean, are you affected by this in a different way that we haven't seen you on the show?
Well, not so much in a different way. I mean, we all have our own individual relationships that are affected. Either your partner's going, or your partner wants to go, or your partner can't go, or, all that stuff. So every relationship has a different sort of reality to play out. But things go sideways, we'll say, about the whole space mission at some point. So that becomes more of a pressing concern than our relationships to the space thing, and becomes our drive at some point.
And what kind of science goes into it? I mean, is it all real science?
Is that
it?
Yeah. You need a rocket, and you need a ship, and then you need space, and then
unleaded gas in your fuel, your rocket, because it's going to shake and rattle.
Yeah, and that's just not very efficient.
Scientists should know that.
Yeah. So what science goes into the space thing? In a real thing, I guess we have the FTL drive, the faster than light drive that the guys are working on, and the problems that happen with that. And then obviously, in dealing with space stuff, you have the spaceships and this going wrong, and I can't talk about that so much. But we'll stick with FTL drive. Good answer.
Good at that. Now, how does this all affect your personal private life that's sort of removed from what you're focused on at work?
Well, I guess what you can say is going to space, it's a 2-year mission.
That's all consuming.
Well, whoever leaves goes for 2 years. So let's say you're in a relationship and your partner says, yeah, I'm going to go on this trip. It's 2 years. You can see how that might, make for a conversation or two. If you have kids, let's say. Maybe, but it's your lifelong dream. Your lifelong dream to go to space, but it's a 2. So that sort of stuff is what we deal with. The sort of the brass tacks relationship stuff of decisions like that. Do you follow your dream, or do you adhere to the life that you committed to?
How does that affect the series? If it's 2 years and say you go into space, are you going to be there for 2 years? I mean, does a show do 2 years in space?
Well, that has to do with the break in between the seasons. So I can't talk about it, but we deal with it.
You deal with it. So this is like something that's going to really change this series as we know it. It's kind of almost like a really just bringing a new element that's going to completely change. How is that for you personally? I mean, did you like that they're changing it up?
I love that they changed it up. I love that they're unrepentant about it. I love that we went back in time and they didn't change it back. I love that we're the show that kills people and they don't come back. I love that because, there's so many shows on TV that, they're like, oh, the person dies, and then, oh, but they're a popular character, and the network writes a contract, and then they're back, they're back in September, and it's like, well, what's that?
Justified just did that.
Oh, they just did that? Oh, sorry, Justified.
They cut the end where he actually died and let the guy live.
Oh, well, there you go. I mean, that's. I like the fact that they do stuff on our show, which we just don't know where it's going to go.